Hi, my name is Eleanor, and in response to the affirmative significant claim, what keeps inconvenienced relatives of these suffering patients that do want to live the rest of their time from persuading him or her to voluntarily ask for death? Families often have a direct interest in seeing an ill family member die. First, they may not have the money to support the costs of keeping the patient alive. Second, they may not want to go through the burden of supporting and comforting a loved one in a long downward spiral toward their death. These are strong incentives for families to pressure their ill family member into euthanasia, even if the individual does not want it. Legalizing euthanasia would open the door to this kind of pressure. Even the most well-regulated system would have no real way to ensure that this does not happen. A lot of terminally ill patients also don't have the mental capabilities to make such a decision. Robert Bergdorf, Jr., the National Council on Disability, said that current evidence indicates clearly that the interests of the few people who would benefit from legalizing physician-assisted suicide are heavily outweighed by the probability that any law, procedures, and standards that can be imposed to regulate physician-assisted suicide will be misapplied to unnecessarily undermine the people with disabilities and entail an intolerable degree of intervention by legal and medical officials in such decisions. On balance, the current legality of physician-assisted suicide is preferable to the limited benefits to be gained by its legalization. At least until such time, our society provides a comprehensive, fully funded, and operational system of assisted living services for people with disabilities. This is the only position that the National Council on Disability can, in good conscience, support. In response to the affirmative inherency claim, is that doctors, nurses, and other hospital staff can only do so much without going out of term. The American Hospital Association has a patient bill of rights with 12 rights. To quote their website, their first right is the patient has the right to considerate and respectful care. Assisted suicide goes against this right because it does not ensure a painless and quick death. In the Oregon Department of Human Services' 8th annual report on Oregon's Death with Dignity Act, it says that a death from taking lethal medication could take anywhere from 5 minutes to 9.5 hours. Also, some patients who took a lethal dose did not die and some suffered regurgitation. In John Finnis's philosophical case against euthanasia in the book Euthanasia Examined, he says that to lose one's life is to lose all the capacities, these specific forms and manifestations of one's humanness. It is to lose one's reality as a human being. Also, the laws are in place because people fear that universal legalization of assisted suicide would be the first step down the slippery slope that would lead to widespread, unregulated mercy killing of individuals who society considers undesirable and whose lives have been arbitrarily deemed not worth living. As expressed by legal experts Robert George and William Ford, it is not unrealistic to fear that government may assume what began as a private prerogative and moved from making life and death decisions for the comatose to making them insane and retarded for those of less than average intelligence and finally for those who are entirely rational and intelligent, but whose desire to cling to life brands them as an obstinate, uncooperative, and justly unreasonable. In response to the affirmative solvency claim, assisted suicide would not solve these problems but create a lot more. There are chances of innocents that don't want it but are forced into it, and the fear of whether the government would take over fully who exactly is chosen for physician-assisted suicide. Also, some people with both terminal diseases and those that are not don't have adequate health care and thus turn to physician-assisted suicide. On the Not Dead Yet About Us page, a disability rights organization said, though often described as compassionate, legalized medical killing is really about a deadly double standard for people with severe disabilities, including both conditions that are labeled terminal and those that are not. Disability opposition to this ultimate form of discrimination has been ignored by most media and courts, but countless people with disabilities have already died before their time. you.